Come on in, I'm Finn, and as most artists, I have original characters from a story I'm dying to tell. That's all in my head. But not for much longer because I decided to finally start working on it. And since everything is more fun if you make it a contest, I asked 5 of my artist friends to join me to do a little art challenge. Each one of us will have a maximum of 5 minutes to pitch their story with the objective of making people invested in it. The most important rule is that self-deprecation is not allowed. It's your story, how can people care about it if you're not its biggest fan? And since we are all artists, I also made everyone draw a poster with their characters. At the end, we will have a little award show. So without further ado, let's begin! We've all followed heroes and adventurers in their journeys through fantasy realms, and most of those journeys begin at a tavern. But how do the people that work there feel about their weird clientele? How would they handle constant magical duels, murder attempts, and the weird quest givers that keep showing up? Tavern Tales is a story that takes place, well, at a tavern. It follows the daily life of its staff and its patrons in a fantasy world. I've tried working on stories with intense and epic plotlines, and lots of twists and turns, and I could just not have much fun with that. What I enjoy working on the most is character dynamics and silly scenarios. And that's just what the story is about. A slice of light comedy set in a D&D-inspired world because I'm a sucker for fantasy stories, and because I thought the setting of a tavern could be perfect for the type of story that I wanted to tell. The chaotic nature of working at a restaurant plus the wacky customer that could show up in the tavern makes for an excellent combination for fun shenanigans. I started developing this story because I moved out from my home country, Spain, and god, I miss Spanish food. So that's why the setting and characters are heavily inspired by Spanish culture. Because if I can't eat croquetas, I guess creating a fictional tavern where they serve them is the second best option. And since we have some time left, let's introduce the staff. Meet Ro. She's a young gnome woman with nothing special about her. And no, spoilers, she's not becoming a chosen one, she's not saving the kingdom, she doesn't have a tragic past, she lives with her very much alive and healthy family. Ro is a waitress that works at the tavern to pay for her master's degree. She works hard, studies even harder, and has little to no patience about adventures and quests. She's reliable and honest, yet a bit cranky, accentuated by the fact that despite her unquestioned hardworking nature, she completely neglects most of her basic needs. The girl goes to work with 2 hours of sleep and 3 cups of coffee as breakfast. The other waitress in the tavern is Martina, a draconian. Cheerful, girly, extroverted, and with a tragic past as an exiled warrior, Martina is the polar opposite of Ro. She absolutely loves working as a waitress and really enjoys talking to the most eccentric customers. Despite their very much different personalities, they are close friends, even if Ro could never fully understand morning people. Andres is the bartender. They used to be a paladin, working harder than anyone to be noticed by the gods to become their chosen. Turns out that the gods chose a random farm boy with no training but the power of friendship, which resulted in many casualties. But they were just soldier NPCs, so it's fine. After losing many friends and being badly injured, Andres became way more cynical, cold and secretive, yet they have a way to make people talk. Sergio is the cook. Since he's in the kitchen for the most part, he doesn't deal with as many problems as the rest of the staff. Despite his big size, he's the chillest guy you'll ever meet. He is wise and comforting, yet extremely prone to zoning out. A talented cook and an ex-hunter, most people wonder how he can be so insightful, observant, and dexterous at his craft, yet so incredibly oblivious to everything else. Their boss Leonor used to be an adventurer in her youth, but after settling down with her family, she decided that opening a tavern and surrounding herself with adventurers could be a great idea, but she can't help but wanted to relive those thrilling golden years of her life. Don't get me wrong, she absolutely loves her family and doesn't even regret for a second her choices, but sometimes a woman just feels like going into a dangerous dungeon and killing a minotaur. And even if she's sure to put any risky hobbies aside, she won't hesitate to jump into any opportunity to go into a quest and possibly force her reluctant employees to come. The last character doesn't start the story working at the tavern, but joins the staff pretty early on. Bastian is a harpy that used to be the henchman of a big bad guy till he accidentally killed them, and has been on the run. He has been renting a room at the tavern since then, and he's running out of money. Paranoid, anxious, and clumsy, he doesn't make the best impressions, but he isn't a fully terrible guy. I can't wait to continue developing their story and showing more of the character dynamics. I really love these silly guys.
Hello, my name is Stormith, and today I'm going to share with you my story idea called Chosen One's Academy. Chosen Ones Academy is a school where heroes from all across the multiverse gather to prepare themselves to fulfill their destinies and learn how to bypass the traumatic events chosen ones of the past have had to endure. They are scouted through a magic scrying system that is able to determine the most likely candidate from each world. These chosen ones are then brought to the school before their hero's journey even begins. So essentially, it's a training school for chosen ones throughout the multiverse. So in this little ensemble cast we have our main character, Emmy. Emmy is not a chosen one, but a girl who worked at the school as a scout researcher, collecting data on the potential chosen ones that are yet to be enlisted. Eventually, she decides to pose as a chosen one, taking all the classes and fully immersing herself in the world of chosen ones, the people that she has researched and really looks up to. And she's gonna have to keep that secret. And Saber, the unlikely savior of the zombie apocalypse. Before the apocalypse, Saber was an aspiring musician. Just as he started to find success with his music, a terrible drug putting people into zombie-like trances started to gain popularity and spread in ways no one imagined, and thus the apocalypse began. But Saber refused to give up on his dreams and continues to make music in a world where most have given up on art entirely. And Tal, the reluctant chosen one in a sci-fi space setting. Tal's father is a general in charge of a large spacecraft. They traverse the galaxy in search of planets capable of sustaining life for humans to cultivate after the deterioration of Earth. Tal has spent their entire life on this ship and was made their father's trusted right hand with hopes that they will take over the mission should it not be completed in his lifetime. And Anya, the determined hero of a superhero magical girl world. In her world, superheroes are extremely commercialized, and while they do save people, it is done in a way that can be marketed and glamorized to the public. Anya's mother is a famous hero that she looks up to greatly, but as much as Anya would like to be just like her mother, she doesn't have the same image the agency would typically go for. Instead, Anya is scouted to become a magical girl. With her short stature and cute appearance, she fits the market perfectly. While Anya is not a fan of frills and sparkles and doesn't believe in the power of friendship, she's determined to make this opportunity work for her and become the superhero she's dreamt to become. And Cleo, the unwitting protagonist of an analog horror style setting. Cleo is your typical chronically online teenager with a love for horror. In her everyday life, she searches for a taste of real-life thrills by exploring abandoned buildings and what is as close to liminal spaces as she can find, until one day she ends up in a situation she's always thought she craved, a real mystery horror story. And Romeo, the proud prophetic hero of a fantasy world. Romeo was destined to save the kingdom since birth, as it was written in a prophecy held in high esteem by the kingdom and its people. Romeo trained under the Prophet, a skilled wizard who named him the Chosen One long ago, but there's only so much this wizard was able to teach the incredibly gifted Romeo. Romeo grew up in the castle and was treated like royalty, a figure in the kingdom more beloved by the people than even the prince. He's known his whole life just how important he is. So that's the cast of characters, and the story would sort of follow them at their school. I imagine it sort of as a almost sitcom-y type of thing, but with a lot more lore. I would like to make it into something eventually. Do I know what yet? No, but here's a poster of if it were something. Yeah, that is Chosen Ones Academy. That is my story idea. This is the final poster, and I hope you enjoyed hearing about it. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, hi. Going up? So, wanna hear my pitch? Two immortal men travel across England as they reflect on their long lives together. Wait. Okay, just stay a little longer. Immortal Road Trip is the project I'll be talking about today. A comic about two immortals, Morgan, a god, and Piers, a human Morgan turned immortal. The two travel across England to get rid of the accidental monsters Morgan has made in his life to reclaim his magic, and stop him from dying. They also talk about their feelings and maybe curse. It is affectionately my Old Man Yowie comic, and I'm gonna make it your problem. Okay, so let's talk about the actual art. While we're technically making posters for our stories, I have used this collab as an opportunity to make cover art for Immortal Road Trip. Cover art is hard to make, harder still if you don't have a solid idea of what your story is. How do you sum up a story in just one image? And further still, how do you make one image intrigue a potential reader / viewer / whatever your story is? Well, thank God I didn't have to worry about that, because this collab took place while I'm in pre-production for this comic, so that made answering these questions a lot easier. Morgan and Piers are the core of Immortal Road Trip, so if you don't like them and their dynamic, you're not going to vibe with the whole story. So as much as I wanted to go with my first sketches, showing off the road trip aspect of Immortal Road Trip, it didn't communicate the story's intrigue very well, so the immortal part is what I chose to focus on instead. So, what one image represents Morgan and Piers' dynamic? Well, I can only really think of one scene in particular, when Morgan resurrects Piers. This is a part of the comic that colours every emotion these two have towards each other. So, let me yap and set the scene. So it's World War II, and while Piers' warehouse job is keeping him out of the front lines, the fear of getting conscripted is enough for him to look for new work. So, when he has a chance encounter with Morgan, who offers him a job that's good enough to avoid conscription, he takes up the offer. It's a simple pest control job, Morgan says. But when Piers shows up to the warehouse he's supposed to clear out, he finds an indescribable monster that Morgan asks him to get rid of. In exchange for the job, Morgan says that he's happy to throw in anything Piers could ever want. And, fearing for his survival on the front lines, Piers takes up monster hunting. Despite having a literal god happy to grant any wish for his services, Piers just asks for extra rations. But when Morgan gives him food the next day as payment, it tastes like dirt. It is not real. Piers rightfully gets annoyed at the fact Morgan gave him fake food, so later that day Morgan is forced to not rely on his magic for the first time in his life, but instead pretend to be a human and get actual rations. Thus, their work agreement is fulfilled. Piers gets extra food for him and his sister and her family, while Morgan gets his monsters cleared up. After a while of working together, Piers invites Morgan around for dinner, considering he's the one making sure that they get fed, and then the blitz sirens go off. In the chaos, the house gets bombed, and when Morgan gets out of the rubble, he realizes Piers is dead. Morgan was made to feel like a human by Piers, and fearing losing that, he makes a selfish wish and bring Piers back from the dead. Like I said earlier, this choice that Morgan makes affects the whole narrative, so representing it as my cover art only felt natural. I drew the two surrounded by rubble, using their body languages and faces to get across the intrigue of how they feel about these events. Morgan cradles Piers, as if he's just pulled him out from the rubble, with his hands over Piers' heart as he gives him his immortality. Throughout the comic, Morgan feels guilty about this action, as Piers hates the fact that he was brought back, but Morgan can't bring himself to let the only person that ever treated him like a real human leave his life. So I gave him a solemn expression that makes what Morgan is doing on the cover feel ambiguous to if it is either affectionate or sinister. Piers' body is more relaxed, with a face giving a mixture of confusion and anger. He didn't get a choice in coming back, and Morgan refuses to take his magic back from Piers. Piers fights his lack of agency throughout the comic, worrying Morgan only brought him back to use him as a tool for fighting monsters, when in reality Morgan loves him and doesn't want to be without him. Also, you can just look at this cover art and know these two are gonna kiss by the end of it. Anyway, I'll let you get on to your next pitch. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.
Hi, my name is Naomi Pistachiomi, and I've been working on a special story off and on for about a year now, and I'm going to explain it to you in 4 minutes or less. Ready? Set. Go. It all starts in the lakeside town of Vienna, where poverty is so common that many other towns turn a blind side to its residents. Residents who aren't aware of the vampires who are starting to invade the town and spread their disease from person to person, which isn't good. But no worries, this is where our main characters come in. First, we have Delilah Monroe, who is currently a wreck after realizing her parents' death will actually impact her life, and it isn't just a silly character trait that she can joke about sometimes. Oh, and she's in a situationship with her best friend Ivy, which makes her feel fundamentally unlovable. But she's a sweet girl. She loves being there for her friends, and she likes collecting little trinkets. Oh, and she's also one of the 2 magical girls in this story. The second one is Ro Harper, the group's bright, energetic heart. She does everything for the town of Vienna, during the day spending most of her time fishing to give food to those in need, and during the night fighting as a magical priestess, which is this universe's version of magical girls. As a priestess, their job is to capture these vampires, in a non-violent way of course, and use purifying magic to turn them back to human. And on the other side of the conflict, we have Ivy. She is blunt and charismatic and snarky. Think Myra from K-pop Demon Hunters. And after witnessing a vampire attack firsthand, she reluctantly becomes the leader to a vigilante vampire slaying group who believes that the only thing vampires deserve is death. Whew. Don't say that 5 times fast. Vigilante vampire slaying group, vigilante vampire slaying group, vigilantes vampire slaying group. Ugh. She knows that others see her as a ruthless killer, but truthfully, she doesn't kill vampires out of hatred. It's about protecting the town she loves. It's about ensuring that kids can walk home safely without being brutally attacked. She's a lover, not a fighter. Well, technically she's a fighter, but she doesn't want to be. But you know who does. Emmy. She's the 4th best friend in our protagonist quartet, and she is the most combative and sharp-tongued girl you'd ever meet. But she is also the most justice-filled girl ever. But she just has this crushing pressure to be the most exceptional girl, and she refuses, and I mean refuses, to be anything other than great. But this just leads to her constantly burning out and running away. And this, unfortunately, leads to her going missing and becoming a vampire, only to be found by our sweet and lovely Ro, who unsuccessfully tries to purify Emmy and just fails desperately. So, out of her love for Emmy, she keeps her captive, and there's not a good way to say this, but she basically experiments on her in order to try to turn her back to human. Whew! Okay, almost done. If this was a piece of media, I'd want them to be like a graphic novel, side-slider fighter game, where you can pick your protagonist in the beginning of the game and the story changes based on that. Because I love a story where every character can come off as a villain based on whose perspective you're watching. Like, if you play as Delilah, you can see how noble purification can be because you watch them redeem vampires. But through Ivy's eyes, you see it as a disease where every vampire eliminated means innocent lives saved. Then with Ro, you can see that she feels like she's making hard decisions in order to help Emmy because she refuses to lose her best friend. But when you finally play as Emmy, you experience the true horror of a best friend torturing you while believing and trying to convince you and herself that she is your savior. That's sickening, isn't it? Whew, okay. I can finally breathe. But look, we did it. We talked about Vienna in 4 minutes or less, and we were right on time. I don't want to talk for too long because we still have other people to go through. However, I do want to say thank you to Finautica for inviting me to this collab. If you haven't already, please subscribe to Finn. He always puts so much effort into his work, and it definitely shows. And while you're at it, please subscribe to the other people in this collab. They're all super sweet and kind, and I love them so much. And thank you for watching my segment. Now let's get on to the next pitch.
Hello everybody, my name is Astar and I was so excited to be joining this collab because I actually have a lot of OCs that I've never really talked about on YouTube or just anywhere in general. And I thought this collab would be the perfect opportunity to talk about them. The story I'll be talking about right now is called Witch Homework. I think I probably came up with these OCs in like 3rd grade or something. Originally, they were Gotcha Club OCs. They were just witches, and they all had their own color, which corresponded to their name, which was a gemstone. The main characters were Amethyst, Ruby, and Emerald. And in elementary school, I actually had a little book I was writing for them. But as I grew up, I kind of stopped drawing these characters that often. And then around high school, I stopped drawing them entirely. But recently, I've been taking a step back from a lot of my OC stories because I was so busy with my AP work, and I've come back to a lot of old ones with fresh ideas, and this story was one of them. The plot of their original story was literally just they were witches that went to witch school, but now they are an after-school club of witches. This is a post-apocalyptic world. The apocalypse already happened, the post-apocalypse already happened, and now we're kinda at a nice middle ground where everything's peaceful again. Since most humans died during the apocalypse, a lot of magical creatures started returning to Earth, so it's very common to see classic monsters and mythical creatures. However, witchcraft is a human thing, and humans are definitely a lot more uncommon nowadays. One such witch is Amethyst. Amethyst's mother was a witch, and she's now her apprentice. She was like really emo in middle school, so she used her witchcraft to summon herself a demon. And that demon just so happened to be Ruby. Ruby liked the service so much that she kind of just became a foreign exchange student, and is now also learning witchcraft along with Amethyst. the two started their own after-school club for witchcraft where they could practice, but because the club is really only the two of them, the conflict of the story would be them trying to get new members. Luckily for them, a new member kinda just falls right into their hands. Emerald is a unicorn, and in this universe, I was thinking unicorns could be a very secluded group of people. In the age of humans, they were overhunted to almost extinction. So now, just out of paranoia, they still keep to themselves even though humans aren't around anymore. Emerald, however, just wasn't cut out for that life, and she wanted to experience new things and meet new people. So her and her family left the unicorn compound and moved into Amethyst and Ruby's town. Unicorns typically wouldn't need witchcraft since they already have magic, but Emerald, however, doesn't have any. She didn't know about witchcraft previously, but when she found out, she immediately wanted to join the club. Since she's incapable of doing magic, she thought witchcraft would be the perfect solution for her. These three would be the main characters, and the story would kind of be about their wacky hijinks trying to recruit people into their club so it doesn't get shut down. A big plot point I definitely want to include is trying to get some upperclassmen to join, because Amethyst has an older brother named Onyx, so I feel like it'd be kind of fun to try to convince him and his friends to join the club too. I have a lot more ideas for this story, and I'd love to say more about it, but I think this is where I'm going to cut it here. Since drawing this poster and writing the script, I've come up with so many more ideas for these guys, and I'd love to make a longer video about them, and I can't wait to see what everyone else's stories are.
Hello, I'm Norvo, and I'm here to share a story I've had in my head for, let's just say, a very long time. I think it'll make a really cool webcomic, so, without further ado, imagine a universe where every soul is part of one great life cycle. You start as a human, and when you die, you're reincarnated as an angel or demon depending on the energy of your soul. When that life ends, you return as a human, and the cycle begins again. But in this world, light and dark don't mean good and evil. They're two halves of the same whole. Balance, vital for life itself. One can't survive without the other, and yet, that balance is always under threat. That's where the Warden comes in. Think of them like the Avatar, but instead of mastering the elements, the Warden has to master the power within themselves. In every lifetime, they inherit the strength of their past lives, nurturing it and growing it so that when they're reborn, they return even stronger. Their role is to protect the balance and deal with anything that threatens it. However, the previous Warden wasn't exactly a hero. His name was Yansk, a demon whose actions sparked a war that nearly tore the realms apart. Even after his defeat, the world still bears the scars left behind, and now, 15 years later, a new Warden has risen. This time, an awkward young angel named Kai, who wishes he was, well, literally anyone else. Poor Kai not only finds himself struggling with the pressure the world has placed upon him, but also a tarnished reputation inherited from someone he never knew. How can he be a saviour when he doesn't even believe in himself? And while he may not remember his past lives, the world will never forget. That doesn't mean that old wounds may never heal though. The Angel's realm of Arcadia and the Demon's realm of Pandemonium have recently attempted to repair the broken bonds between them, but it seems that not everyone is willing to let things go so easily. During a tense diplomatic meeting, Kai meets Orla, a fiery, hot-headed noble with a sharp tongue and an even sharper blade. She's not the type to mince words or handle things delicately, and even after all this time, Orla still holds on to her grief and resents the Warden because of it. During this meeting, the two are immediately thrown into trouble when a group of unusual humans gatecrash the event to steal a powerful artifact, an ancient relic known as the Anchor Stone. It serves to keep Arcadia and Pandemonium from drifting towards each other. Since light and dark energy are endlessly drawn to each other like magnets, the Anchor Stone contains enough opposing energy to keep the realms in place. Now in the hands of this mysterious group, there's nothing to stop the worlds from colliding and taking everything else with them. Kai and Orla chase after the thieves, only to follow them through a strange portal to Midworld, the realm between realms. An endless desert where ruins crumble under a sun that never sets, where the air tastes like dust and memory. Here, time is everything, and the inhabitants of this realm will do anything it takes to gain a few extra minutes on the clock. It lies outside the balance, forgotten, and home to exiles who turn their back on the life cycle to remain trapped for all eternity, plagued with violent gangs, ancient creatures, and beings warped by the sands of time itself. Now, Kai and Orla must overcome their differences and survive this strange, dangerous world, recover the Anchor Stone, and somehow restore the balance. But not before discovering what ancient evil lies in wait beneath the sands.
And now, the moment everyone was waiting for, the awards ceremony, starting with the character awards. Character most likely to become a Tumblr sexy man. And the award goes to Morgan from Immortal Road Trip.
Oh, my beautiful baby boy. Add him to the wiki. Do it, cowards.
Now, character most likely to be heavily mischaracterized by its fandom. I think no one will be surprised by these results. Orla from Midworld.
Oh my god, thank you so much. Oh wait, this is real gold? Where'd you get the budget for this? Oh, right, the speech. You know, it's kind of perfect that Orla won this one. She'd probably laugh too. She might look mean and angry all the time, but even the demon lady herself is capable of joy. So thanks again for this award. I'll make sure she gets it, before a certain someone decides to sell it.
Things are getting spicier. The award for characters most likely to be sipped goes to Ro and Martina from Tavern Tales. Oh, those are mine. Thanks everyone. My story is not really focused on romance, but I can definitely see how these two could be a popular sip. Mainly because every time I post about them I get comments saying, make them kiss. And now the story awards. Starting strong with a story that could have the most amount of fanfiction written about it. Chosen One's Academy.
Hi, thank you so much for this award. Such an honor. I'd like to thank the Academy, Chosen One's Academy, the school I invented. And I'd like to thank the hypothetical fanfic writers. Thank you so much. I will be reading your hypothetical fanfics. Yeah, thank you so much for this award. It's been great.
Oh, I'm excited about this one. Story most likely to get a terrible live-action adaptation. Vienna.
Oh wow, thank you so much. But I couldn't have done it without all the support I have around me. So I do want to say thank you to my wife for always listening to my late night Vienna rambles. And thank you very much to my mother. Who knew that forcing me to watch all those Twilight movies will actually pay off at some point? And I also want to say thank you to her for dying. That really gave me a lot of, material for my OCs. Those damn lesbians hate to see me coming. So thanks, girl. And thank you again to my wife. I love my wife.
And the final award, the most anticipated one, story most likely to get cancelled for being too woke, with Homework.
Oh my god, I can't believe I won. Oh my god. Guys, this moment is so much bigger than me, and I'd just like to thank everybody, myself mostly, because I'm awesome. Stay woke, everybody, I win!
Thank you all for watching. If you like any of these story pitches, you should absolutely go share some support to the artists. I'll be leaving all their socials in the description. They are all such creative and amazing people, and I'm so happy they joined me in this video. And feel free to tell us about your original stories and characters in the comments. But remember, no self-deprecation. I mean it.